If you go on to social media and you like someone's post, is that perceived as you like that person? Is that perceived that you want to date that person? Is that perceived that no, you want to be with that person? But there are some people, this is a boundary for them. They say, no, I don't want you to like other people's photos.
Such a trifle issue.
For some people, it is trifle, but some people, they're not secure with themselves, right? And so that insecurity, it gets triggered. And when that insecurity gets triggered, it gets brought into the relationship. Then when it gets brought into the relationship, you have to look at, is it being brought into the relationship holistically? What do I mean by that? Is it really, as you said, it's trifling for you?
Yes.
It's trifling. But for that person who's triggered, it's not trifling at all. Maybe it is, part of it is because they don't feel they're respected. Maybe part of it is that they have trauma. It's not that important to me. It makes it really easy to compromise. It's very important to me that we got to figure out some negotiating work. Maybe I only like certain pictures.
Yes.
Or certain people. This is the art of compromising, right?
Yeah. Now, in this case, should you stick to your principle, your thought process that, okay, I should like, this is what I feel. Right. So I know myself that I love my partner, but at the same time, I want to like the person I like.
All right.
So why should I compromise here?
So I don't think it's a question of why should I compromise. I think the question is what's important.
Yes.
Is the security of my partner more important than me liking the photo? Is this relationship more important? My mom used to say there's 4C's in any relationship.
Yes.
I'm like, okay, what are the 4C's? The first C is character. Second C is communication. The third C is compromise. The fourth C is commitment. Are you committed to the relationship? Let's talk about character. I think most of the challenges that people have in relationships is they don't know themselves. So when you are unsure of yourself, how can you come into a relationship and expect that relationship to have some level of success because you're not sure of who you are? Second C is communication.
Okay.
Well, let me give you an example. The other night I was at a restaurant.
Yes.
And I was sitting tables pretty close together. And there was this couple and they appeared to have been married.
Yeah.
You know, I can only say that because it was an appearance. But the conversation led me to believe they were married. Yeah. And they were very loud with each other about some finances that were going on in the relationship, right? To the extent that I felt compelled to ask them to please bring it down a little bit.
So what did you find from this story? I mean, from this incident?
Well, what I found from that incident, looking at that incident, is that these are two people who are not happy with the discussions about how they handle their finance. What are your expectations? What are your boundaries?
Yes.
Because they both are talking about the spending habits of each other. So one of the things in the U.S., what is very common, is there to be three accounts, right? There's your account, there would be my account, and then there would be a house account.
Yes.
And then we both have agreed on what the contribution will be for the house account.
Right.
And sometimes it's based on percentages of income, sometimes it's based on ability.
Right.
And then the question is, do I have completely control of my account so I can spend it on whatever I want to spend it on?
Sometimes not.
No. No, sometimes not. You still want to influence how I spend money. So if I want to go buy an Xbox, you say, why are you wasting your money buying an Xbox? That is my pleasure.
Right.
That's my account.
Right.
That is my spending.
Yes.
And then in other relationships, the money goes into one pot, right?
Right.
So then there's always a discussion before they're spending. And this is what I kind of got from this conversation. Someone spent something without sharing what they were going to spend on.
Yes.
And this person was retaliating because this person had spent money.
That's the communication gap.
Yes. If there's not a clear communication about what is the expectation.
Right.
What do I expect you to contribute?
Yes.
What is the boundary? This is what I can contribute.
Right.
And then there has to be some kind of an agreement.
Yes.
So obviously, if we have separate accounts and we have a house account, the house account's taking care of all of the expenses so that both of us can live in accordance to the lifestyle that we want to live.
Right.
If I have now my account and I want to spend my money buying an Xbox or a new game or something like that, then that's my money, because they come back with comments like, that's kind of a stupid purchase. Why did you buy that? You know. But the truth of the matter is, they're not really upset, I think, that I use the money that way, but they saw that as a possible infringement of time
Yes.
that they weren't going to get,
Right.
because now my interaction is going to be with the Xbox. It's not going to be with that person. So if you really kind of look at the substance of what is the trigger,
Yes.
the trigger is usually not what happened.
Yes. Yes.
It is some behavior
Right.
that's associated with what's going to be the outcome. If you're really committed to the relationship, you're willing to compromise. So going back to emoji thing, if I'm committed to this relationship, I'm willing to compromise the fact that maybe I don't like the photos that I want to like.
That's
Because I'm
compromise
committed.
and commitment too.
Well, yes, it's compromise. I mean, one leads to the other.
I'm
right?
committed to the
If
person.
you don't, exactly. If you don't have the character,
Right.
you're not going to communicate open and honestly.
Yes.
If you don't communicate open and honestly, you cannot have compromise. You cannot have compromise. You cannot have anything to commit to. So they're all linked together.
Interestingly, you never told me about the romantic side of the relationship.
Well, first of all, let's talk about what love. Love is an emotion.
Yes.
Emotions are transient,
Transient.
meaning
Okay.
that what I'm feeling right now,
Yes. I may not feel
I'm not going to
next
feel.
moment.
Yeah, I may not feel in 3 weeks. I may not
Yes.
feel in 4 months. I may not
Yes.
feel in 5 years.
Yes.
And so love becomes transient. Right?
So it changes,
It's an emotion.
changes time to time.
It changes, right? So that's when I say love is an emotion.
Yes.
Being in love is an emotion.
And emotion
I think-
changes.
And the emotions change.
Yes.
I think the characteristic of love is what happens over a period of time. So there was no doubt in my mind that this couple who were
Yes.
arguing,
Yes.
that they were not in love, that they loved.
Each other.
Let's be clear. They clearly, in my eyes, were not in love with each other, but they did love each other.
Right.
I don't know how you would have that much passion in the conversation if you didn't care. Because I think love is based on, do I care about this person?
Exactly.
Do I respect this person? And so a lot of times what happens, as soon as a person feels that they're not being respected, that is when the love shifts. When you're not being appreciated,
Yes.
that is when the love shifts.
Yes.
When you're not paying attention to me,
Correct.
that is when the love shifts. If I don't give you the attention,
Yes.
your attention goes someplace else.
Oh.
If I don't give you the validity, you look for validation someplace else. If I don't have a conversation with you,
Yes.
you look for conversations someplace else.
It's same with the married couple too.
Relationships. We use the term marriage
Yes.
to imply
Right.
there's a contract,
Yes.
but it's a piece of paper.
So we need to know the art of maintaining a relationship, managing a relationship.
I think we need, first of all, to learn the art of loving ourselves.
Yes.
Because most of us are so damaged
Yes.
that we go into relationships thinking that this person is going to make me,
Happy.
or at least heal me.
But it never happens. It
Rarely.
happens to
Rarely it happens. Rarely it happens.
So is it good to be single or being married? What do you think?
It depends. Some people cannot be alone,
Yes.
and they will have someone in their lives. And there's evidence of this. Look at spousal abuse.
Yes.
Clearly, you know this person beating on me
Yes.
is not in my best interests.
Right. But still
Yes,
they
I
stay
can-
together sometimes. Why?
I agree. Why are they staying together? 1, economics.
Yes.
2, children.
Yes.
3, a fear of being alone.
Right.
Then maybe economics.
Yes.
Then maybe children.
Yes.
But it's truly the fear of being alone.
You know, all these do not matter. What should one do? I mean, there are 3, 4 things for which people are sticking to the relationship.
Yeah.
Now, if it doesn't exist anymore,
Right.
so is it better to get out of the relationship?
I would think so. But most people, the biggest challenge most people have is no one wants to be alone.
But can you change the same person? Or it's better to go for another person?
I don't know. Have you changed anybody in your life?
No, I could not change.
Yeah. People have to want to change. So let's give an example. Let's just pick the easiest things here. You're in a relationship and this person becomes unfaithful to you. Unfaithful in the sense they have sexual relations with someone else. So that goes against one of the boundaries you have, right?
Yeah.
Your boundary is you should not be doing this behavior,
Right.
right? So now you have a choice to make. The choice is, do I forgive this person
Yes.
and continue on,
Yes.
or do I sever the relationship? This is a boundary. But if the boundary has been crossed, then you have
Yes.
to make a decision,
Yes.
right?
What time? What time? So there are so many boundaries.
I don't think there is a time limit. It is. I think what happens to most people is
Yes.
a boundary gets crossed. We
Yes.
move the goal line, right?
You probably know the story of a frog.
The story goes the way that you boil a frog
Yes.
is you put him into a pot when the water is cold, right? And then you turn on the heat. And at some point, it becomes uncomfortable, right? And the frog tries to get out,
Yes.
but the frog can't get out,
Yes.
right?
Right.
And a lot of times, the reason the frog can't get out is because the
Compromise.
barrier
Yes.
that is around the frog is higher
Yes.
than its ability to get out,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That barrier could be economics. That barrier could be kids.
Yes.
That barrier could be social status.
Right.
That barrier could be my own mindset.
Right.
That I need to be validated.
Right.
It doesn't matter. There's this barrier, and
Right.
that's preventing me to get out of the pot.
But it could have
Right.
jumped earlier. And
Could have jumped earlier when it first became uncomfortable,
yes.
but most of us don't,
Right.
because most of us think this is going to change.
But it never changes.
It changes.
It never
A lot of times it gets worse. The heat continues to go up.
Yes. Yes.
So that at one point you try to jump,
Yes.
but because the water is so hot,
Yes.
your muscles are so relaxed, the barrier has gotten higher,
Yes.
it's harder for you to jump.
Right.
So a classic example is economics is the number one reason people get divorced.
Right.
The number one reason. Infidelity is the second reason.
Yes.
But interesting, economics leads to infidelity. So they're probably pretty close.
And what about emotional attachment between the two? Sometimes some relationship are emotionally tied, so much so that it doesn't matter what happens.
Yeah, no, I'm sure some are. Some people are willing to forgive a partner who may have violated the infidelity boundary.
Yes.
That's compassion. But if they did it again,
Yes.
they might forgive again. If they did it again, they might forgive again. But maybe at some point, the water's too hot,
Yeah.
and now they want to get out. Now, how much time has to happen? Or sometimes the first infidelity, the person is out.
Right.
Or do you want to start again?
So finding that point, do you want to start
Or do you want to leave?
to leave?
Yeah, and I don't think there is, you cannot say how much time it is, because all the water boils at different parts. All frogs can stay at different parts. All barriers are some barriers are higher than others. It's easier for you to get out of a relationship if you're not married, because there's no contract that you have to dissolve.
Yes.
So there's not the courts or the states not recognizing the marriage.
Yes.
So that if you don't have children, if you don't have financial ties, property or mixed convoluted finances,
Right.
those are it's easier to get out of.
Yes. Exactly.
When you look at societies where you have high divorce rates,
Yes.
you look at societies where it's usually the women are initiating the divorce,
Right.
first of all, because they are independent.
Yes.
They don't have to rely financially
Yes.
on their partner. And in a lot of cases, they are more financially better off in the marketplace than their partner is. You get married.
Yes.
And then 4 or 5 years down the road, children have been born.
Right.
You have no interest in your partner.
Right. Then should I think of society or should I think of my interest to take the decision to get out of the relationship?
You tell me.
I'm asking you what to do for a person.
I don't know what to tell you that.
What should they do? Because so many people are suffering. So you have,
So many are suffering because they're in the relationship.
they are in the relationship. People are also suffering. They're not in the relationship.
But here's what I've seen.
Yes.
If there's a breakdown in the relationship,
Right.
there's usually some type of discussion
Right.
about the boundaries being changed.
Right.
One of those discussions is we're going to maintain the appearance of the relationship.
Outside one.
Inside,
Inside.
with the people who is most important with.
Oh, right, right.
And as long as you don't bring shame,
Yes.
I don't care what you do. And so now you've tried to satisfy both parties, right? You try to satisfy the society party,
Yeah.
parents or expectations on what this marriage meant.
Yeah.
But the reality is, you know, you go do your thing, I'll go do my thing. We just don't tarnish the name, or we don't bring disrespect.
Does it bring inner happiness?
I don't think everyone has the same measurements, do they?
No, no.
So then
Everything is a choice.
everything's a choice, yes, but not everybody's the same measurements.
Right.
If there's conversation
Yes.
and both parties are in agreement,
Yes.
then where does the harm? If there's a conversation and one party's not in agreement,
Right.
then you have to figure out, okay, what's more important?
Right.
Should I sustain this relationship?
Yes.
Or should I do what I think is in my best interest?
Right.
You've heard the old say, the grass is always greener on the other side.
Right.
Usually it's not. Right? Exactly. When you look at statistics, married men are happier than married women.
Is it?
Now, single women
Yes.
are less happier than single men
Why?
because single women have bought into the Cinderella fantasy.
Oh.
I'm going to be found by a prince. I'm going to be rescued. I'm going to live happily ever after. That hasn't happened yet for them, right?
Yes. Yes.
It goes back to the 17th century, romanticism.
Yes. Yes.
So now that amplifies the notion that I am not enough.
Right.
No one can find value in me. Or the suitors that have found value in me, I don't value them, right? Because typically what happens is,
Yes.
I think there is people, I don't know if it's soulmates, but I think there are people out there for everybody.
Yes.
The question is, are they for you? And so what happens is when we have unrelenting standards,
Yeah.
and we think a person should behave a certain way, have a certain income, drive a certain car, live in a certain part. So now the question becomes even more, what value does this person bring to me? I don't need this person in my life economically.
So need-based. It's no more commitment-based.
Well, it's an economic base.
Economic.
I don't need this person to be successfully economically.
Yes.
I don't need this person in my life. I don't need the wealth
Yes.
possibilities or real
Right.
from this person because now I have access to education. Now I have access to controlling if I'm going to have children or not. And now I have access to the marketplace in terms of work, how I can get into work. And then with that comes a certain amount of economic return. So when I have this economic return, and if the economic return is greater than the number of people coming by interviewing, I have a lot more choice.
Yes.
I have a lot more choice. If I don't have economic means, I don't have as much choice. I'm going to be happy with whoever says, hey, yes, look, I took care of you.